Welcome to the MMA Minute. I'm Mike Morrill. This is your first episode. Today we're just going to be doing a quick breakdown of the UFC 287 card. We're going to start with the prelims. First fight in the prelims. We have Carl Williams versus Chase Sherman at heavyweight belt. Carl Williams at plus 190, the underdog. I like those odds for him. I'm not going to lie. If I were you guys, I'd go Carl Williams on that one. Chase Sherman, his record's not the best. He's 16-11. Going against Carl Williams, who's 8-9-1. Just going off that alone, I'd probably take Carl Williams plus 190 underdog. He's good money. Then you got GM3 Gerald Mercier versus Joe Pyfer. Good fight right here. I'd probably go Joe Pyfer. He's a favorite at 190 and GM3 plus 160 underdog. GM3, we know him for the corpse guard he pulled on Kamzat. That was a pretty nice. I wish the ref gave him more time to defend himself there. He clearly seconds away from beating Kamzat in that one. Just thinks he didn't get to defend himself the way he wanted to. But yeah, I think Joe Pyfer's got a pretty good chance here. If he can keep it standing, obviously GM3 is going to try to take it to the ground, submit him. Joe Pyfer 10-2. I mean, he's still young, still early in his career, but Gerald Mercier's 35-15, so got to consider those. So moving along, Michelle Waterson versus Luana Pinheiro. I'm going to take Michelle Waterson here. Don't see the odds, but she's ranked 10. Luana Pinheiro's 15. I've always been a Michelle Waterson fan. You know, she's pretty solid. She's got an all-around good game. She's been close to the title a couple times, so I think it's pretty safe to ride with her for this fight. And then last fight on the prelims, great event, great fight right here. Arguably should have been on the main card, if you ask me. But Chris Curtis versus Kelvin Gastelum, 15 versus 14. I like Chris Curtis in this one, honestly. Chris Curtis he's young, not younger. I guess they both started UFC at the same time, but he just seems like he's more on the come up in his career right now, whereas Kelvin Gastelum has been more on a steady decline these past few fights. You know, he hasn't really. Last finish I can think of for Kelvin Gastelum was Michael Bisping. So, and what's that tell you? You know, he's not having any great fights. He's losing to guys like Whitaker. He's losing to guys like Till, who's not even in the UFC anymore. So, Chris Curtis, he trains with Strickland, just a beast of a guy. You know, they practice together. So, I'd feel pretty good with the Chris Curtis pick on this one. Sorry if I'm going a little fast here, guys, but just trying to get this one done quickly. Raul Rosas Jr. versus Christian Rodriguez. This fight right here, man, crazy. I think Raul Rosas will win. I think it'll be probably his toughest fight. You know, you look at his record, he's got nothing but first-round finishes. He's got one fight that went to decision on the Contender Series. He showed pretty good striking. Christian Rodriguez, though, he's definitely a step up in competition. He's nothing too crazy. He's 8-1, but you know he's got 5 first-round finishes. I think he'll present a problem to Rosas. Hopefully, we get to see Raul strike a little bit more. You know, I don't like watching him go in there and just instantly shoot for a takedown like he's been doing. But you know, we'll see because he's 18 years old. You know, if I was him, you got to go in there and you got to fight your fight. You got to fight what's most beneficiary to you. So I'd have to say that Raul Rosas is going to probably get the finish on Christian Rodriguez. I wouldn't be surprised if it came in the 3rd round, honestly. But a decision might happen as well. But still, either way, I'd go Raul Rosas with that one just because he's got youth on his side. Christian Rodriguez ain't that big of a name. So hopefully he can. Hopefully he can make a name for himself with this one, but we'll see. Next fight, we got Kevin Holland versus Santiago Ponzinibbio. I don't know if you guys know much about Santiago Ponzinibbio, but he is a beast. He used to be, I think, number 6 in the welterweight ranking before he had a really bad illness, and he missed some time, a couple years. He had to come in his next fight after a long layoff. He fought the Li Jiang. That one didn't go too well for him. He got sparked out pretty quick, so that was tough. But he's got a fight against Kevin Holland right here, and I'm going to go Kevin Holland. You know, Kevin Holland's got a great stand-up game. He's coming off, I think, 2 losses maybe. I know he lost to Wonder Boy, and I think before that it was Kamzat. So he's kind of, this is a must-win for him, you know. He's fighting Ponzinibbio, he's known to he starts slow. You know, he lost the first 2 rounds to Alex Morono. You know, Morono gassed on him, and then he was able to get the finish. But I don't know. This is a good matchup, and if you guys saw their face off, Kevin Holland's a tall dude. You know, he's a lot bigger than Santiago, so that was not something I was expecting. And another thing, actually, if you guys were watching the press conference, Dana White let Kevin Holland talk his shit. You know, it's like Kevin Holland is he's a star in the making. If the UFC wants, they could make him huge. But for some reason, Dana puts a stop to the question when the guy goes, Kevin Holland, just ask him about the scuffle that he had with Jorge Masvidal backstage. Dana just instantly, he's like, nope, not going to have it. We're not talking about it. It's like, if Masvidal loses this fight, what's he going to do? Who's there for him to fight? I thought it would have been perfect for Kevin Holland to fight Jorge Masvidal if he wins. Honestly, if he wins or loses, because Masvidal, if he loses, he's going to have to fight. Who's he going to fight? You know, he's got to fight Kevin Holland. I think it would make perfect sense. The story was there. Dana just had to nip it in the butt. Stinks. So next fight, we got Rob Font, Adrian Yanez. I don't know if Font's going to look the same after that fight with Cheeto, to be honest with you guys. Cheeto put the beating on him. Font's a tough dude, you know. He's a New England cartel guy. Trains with Cater, so you know those guys can take a lot of damage. You know, Cater's a tough dude. I'm going to ride with Rob Font in this one just because he's a New England cartel guy. I don't know, though. It's definitely going to be a tough fight. You don't know how he's going to bounce back after taking that much damage. Yanez is a tough kid, up-and-coming contender. He's kind of got something to prove. If the 12 guy can beat the 6 guy here, that's a big jump for Yanez. But I'm going to still ride Font just because New England cartel. And then co-main event, great fight here. Jorge Masvidal, Gilbert Burns. 2 guys, local guys, Miami guys. That being said, I don't think he's the same. You know, that last fight with Colby was a tough one for him. You know, it definitely took a lot out of his spirit. When you're fighting a guy like Colby, there was a lot of emotion going into that fight. Everyone knows it. Colby's probably going to be in the crowd at this fight. He'll probably be there right in the front row yelling at Masvidal. So he'll be in the corner. He's probably going to try to get tickets right behind Masvidal's corner. So he'll be screaming at him, letting him hear it. I don't think Masvidal respects Gilbert's stand-up as much as he should. I think Gilbert might drop him here, honestly. Masvidal hasn't been finished by anybody other than Usman, but he's old, man. He is an old guy. And Gilbert's not necessarily young, but I think he's more in the picture at welterweight than Masvidal is at this point in their career. I don't think that I don't know, man. I don't think Masvidal I think he had his chances, basically. You know, he fought Usman twice. Short notice, maybe the first time, but he was out cold in that second fight, and you know, that changes a fighter. And you saw that in the Covington fight where Covington was all over him for 5 rounds, and those 2 back-to-back. Then you got Gilbert, who's hungry, coming in after a great fight with Khamzat. You know, I don't know, man. Gilbert's going to be a force to be reckoned with in this fight, man. So quickly moving on, we have Alex Pereira versus Israel Adesanya. The rematch, quadrilogy, however you want to look at it. Alex Pereira is up 3-0 on Israel Adesanya. That says something. And the odds, man, look at the odds. Plus 15, Alex Pereira, still the underdog. He's finished Izzy twice in their 3 fights. And he's still the underdog. It's incredible, man. Izzy was a great champion. He really was. His fights with Whittaker, amazing. Maybe the second one, arguable. He could have lost. That one could have been a draw either way. He's had some great fights. He's also had some dud fights too. The Vettori fight, the Cannonier fight. So he had a good title reign, but there's certain guys, man. There are certain guys, and Alex Pereira is his boogeyman. You know, it's a matchup for him. It's just like Bobby Knuckles to him is what he is to Alex Pereira. I said it when Rob was the champ. Rob was one of my favorite fighters, but I knew that his style just was not a good match with Izzy's. And I knew if they fought 10 times, Rob's probably going to lose 8 of them, you know. And I think the same for this, honestly. I think the same stylistic matchup. The way Izzy's been talking in this build-up, it doesn't sound like he plans on changing his style too much. He's like, I just got to be me, you know. I just got to just I don't know, man. I think his best path to victory would be to wrestle, but he doesn't wrestle as much as he should. You know, he used it a little bit in their last fight, but Alex Pereira also took him down. You know, he trains with Glover Teixeira. Izzy doesn't really train with many grapplers. You know, he trains at City Kickboxing with Dan Hooker. You know, those are stand-up guys. Pereira's out in Connecticut with Glover practicing grappling. You know, I think he has more room for growth since that last fight in the sport of MMA than Izzy does. You know, what's he going to change? Izzy's coach, Eugene Behrman, he said it. He's like, I didn't like this turnaround for Izzy. I think it's too quick. So I'm going to have to agree with this coach, you know. He's a smart guy. And Izzy doesn't seem, from what he's saying, he's going to change his game plan. So if you're going to go in there against Alex Pereira with a stand-up mindset, we've seen how that's worked for him all 3 times, you know. He's a smart guy. He's got one of the best fight IQs, if not the best fight IQ in the UFC. So I don't understand why he would go into this 3rd or 4th fight, 2nd UFC fight, with the same plan, you know. Yeah, he tagged Alex Pereira, but he did that in the kickboxing fights they had too, you know. There have been plenty of times where he's rocked Alex, and he's gave Alex everything he has, and he's never put him away, you know. I wonder how much time they've spent in the octagon together, man. They've probably spent close to an hour fighting each other. So I'm going to say that Alex Pereira gets it done again, you know. I'm going to say he finishes him too. I don't know what round. It could be early. The way he's talking, it really could be early. The way he's talking makes me think that he's just going to charge at Alex pretty recklessly and get himself clipped. So I wish I could go in depth a little more, guys, but I'm going to have to wrap this episode up now. Going to head out to class, so see you guys next time. Hopefully next time we'll go over these fights. Hopefully I got them right, and hopefully next time I'll win you guys some money. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.